humming at the end really reminded me of your outfit from the baby shower.
Indian shoes. Yes. Well, welcome back, everyone. Aimee, welcome back to the pod. I suppose I'll start with my apology. You could give 2 of your apologies. One for last week and the other one for your little delay with being here. And I'm sure your apology won't include any excuse except for total responsibility, because that's what the women in this family do, is take responsibility for their actions. Can I get an amen? And she's frozen. she's a glitch right now. Okay, let's start with my apology. Okay, let me go. Camera number 1 to the camera. I just want to say, you know what? I'm sorry. I take full responsibility. No excuses. Fingers pointed to no one but me. Yeah, I think I get caught up with a couple of projects, and I didn't prioritize well, and ultimately had canceled 2 weeks ago. So I take responsibility for that. Aimee challenged me to be sure to apologize to all of our 2 or 3 fans out there who faithfully keep up with us. So will you please forgive me? And the audience said in the chat of 0 people, I forgive you in Jesus' name. Aimee, do you want to respond to my apology first, or would you like to go right into your apology?
I'll respond.
Okay, go ahead.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. I need forgiveness. And
Okay. I am also sorry. I'm sorry that we had to cancel.
had to? Let's try again.
That I made the decision.
See, there you go.
To cancel.
There you go. Now
last week's podcast.
Now you're in control. Now you can't blame external circumstances, and it's about having an internal locus of control. Keep going.
Yes. No excuses.
How do you feel about this transgression you committed against the podcast community? Our 2 viewers who are tuned in right now.
Oh, I feel so sad
that
I had made the decision to put other priorities above the podcast.
Plagiarism. She stole my. She just took my.
There are some things that need to
plagiarizable.
I don't think that's plagiarizable. I do think that I'm talking about different priorities.
Indeed.
Yes.
Okay. The thousands, minus thousands plus 3 of our listeners and watchers want to know, have you landed on a name for your unborn son who's due in December? Have you landed?
Yes, I have.
Are you public?
Yes.
Oh, you are public?
Well, with my family.
Okay, but so the community wants to know, are you going to reveal it to them, or are you going to keep it from them? Or do we make it some kind of an event? So we just draw all of these dozens and dozens of viewers who we will announce. We'll play Hangman to reveal.
Hangman to reveal the baby name?
Yep.
Yeah.
That?
We can do that.
Okay. Hangman to reveal the baby name.
Yes.
Build a little anticipation. Little cliffhanger so people do not know her baby's name. But if you happen to guess it in the chat, then we might give you a wink if you're in the right half of the alphabet.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you already know it because you're in the family, that doesn't count. You can't do that. That's cheating.
But the trick is we want engagement is what we want. So Bruce. Wayne. See, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking Bruce for my son's name after Bruce Wayne, but my wife, fortunately or unfortunately, thinks that it's too close to a dog's name, Bruce.
Yeah, maybe.
So, Bruce Wayne, are you going to confirm or deny, or will you just keep them in suspense? Oh, snap. Dang. I'm feeling all encouraged right now because I have once again one-upped my brother. And if you don't know, let me make sure I pull that into the stream, is our brother between us. I guess there's 2 brothers between us. One of the 2 brothers between us doesn't know the name of Aimee's second son.
Well, I just barely last night, told Diamond, Alan, and Pops. So.
Oh dang, y'all are all behind.
Because I wasn't 100% set, but the other day, Jeremy used his name when he was talking about him, so I took that as 100%. Go for it. This is the name, you know.
Yeah.
So yep, we're setting a name.
I feel like what I've done, fortunately or unfortunately, with the naming of our child who is yet to be landed upon, I feel like each thing we've kind of made a little bit of an event. So I feel like a non-event reveal would be kind of lame-o for us. Not saying for people in general. So I feel like there has to be some kind of an event that reveals the name.
Yeah, especially like as long as and as like anticipated
I know.
as it's been with y'all.
I should like on a live podcast remove my shirt and reveal his name tattooed on my back. Is what I should do, right? Fair enough.
Tattooed?
What you have? How many tattoos do you have?
5 or 1, 2.
So then I don't understand your tone. I don't understand your judgmental tone as you look down upon me.
You don't have any tattoos, do you?
This is true. Pure blood.
Yeah, so that's it.
Wait, so you look down on you? Look
No,
on me
I'm
like
not looking down on you. It's just like that's a crazy thing.
The thing about the way I'm wired, if I'm gonna get tattoos, I'm gonna get more tattoos than you. And I just have to have the most tattoos in the whole family, which I guess Uncle Daniel's the one that we compete with because he has this whole torso done. But other than that, I feel like I'd have to go all in. I'm either all in or all out.
Mm-hmm.
It's either whole face or no face.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to offer any apology for us starting at an abnormal time?
Yes.
Wow, it's a humble response. Actually, it's my fault because I had a funeral to go to.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
See, she's so humble. Praise. See, I feel like it wouldn't be very humble of me to say that I'm rubbing off on you. So I won't say that. But I'll say, you know what? Maybe Jesus is working in your life, you know?
Always working.
I did see, okay, everybody, just so everybody knows, she does have a Bible right on
the
dashboard of her truck. I said, okay, over there with that. Is that a Gideon Bible? What is that Bible doing there?
I don't know where it came from. I'm guessing it was found somewhere and put on the dash and it's been there ever since.
Feel like it's protecting you while you drive?
I've never thought about it that way. Probably.
Mm.
Because the other day, I don't know what I ran over.
I don't know how many people I ran over.
I don't know what I ran over, but I got to go to the bubble bath today and get my undercarriage cleaned.
Oh, okay. Bloody none there. Okay. Your evidence.
I don't know what it is. No, you know what's funny? I have no idea what happened. I have no clue. But the other day, I went to pick up Erin from school because she had practice or something, and I dropped her off.
And the narrator mentions Aimee loves to talk about her good deeds and how great of a family member she is by talking about how she served her sweet niece, Erin. Keep going.
Anyways, I went to her house to drop her off, and I was leaving her with Khalil there for like 30 minutes because I don't remember what I was going to do, but Mom was going to pick him up. So she was the baton passer, right? So I got down with Khalil, and as soon as we opened the doors, it smelled horrible, like horrible.
Like not skunk. Because skunk is distinctive.
Yeah, no, it wasn't skunk.
Now,
it smelled like burnt garbage.
Have we talked about any of your activity on the pod, and is that public information or is that not?
Yeah. No, we've never talked about it on the pod, but I don't do any drugs.
Okay, I'm asking.
Currently.
Okay, right.
I didn't say that.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. Do you want to keep it non-online? Because that's why I signed and I didn't say the word so that I couldn't be quoted.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, go. What was I talking about? What were you talking about before that?
Did it smell like that?
Okay, so some people connect the smell of weed with skunk, and as a prior dope head, no, I'm just kidding. Potter, dope.
Let's call it Potter.
Marijuana connoisseur. Do you have this? Is it on the same?
I think they similar, but no.
Okay.
Maybe just like in terms of like strong smell.
Yeah.
you know. Anyways, it smelled like hot garbage.
Mm.
So then I
Like
dropped.
death?
Well, now later on, my dad says that that's the smell of like sewers. I didn't know what that's. Obviously, I don't do that, you know. But he
You
said
don't do what? Hang
like-
out with the Ninja Turtles in the sewer or what? You don't do what?
I don't deal with those kinds of issues, you know, sewers overflowing or like, you know, whatever. That's, you know, a maintenance person thing. Anyways, so he said that that's what the smell was. But when I opened the doors, as soon as we opened the doors to the truck, we smelled it. So I took them inside, and as soon as I left, I texted Alan, which is, you know, it's Diamond and Alan's house. I texted Alan and I said, "Hey, Alan, I don't know what you did to your lawn, but it smells horrible outside. I think there's something dead out there that you need to go check out," right? So then I'm driving away.
Fighting words for a man deep into his soul to hear about how his yard stinks like foul death.
And then I'm driving down the street and I'm like, oh my gosh, is it the whole neighborhood? Like, what's going on? Because I'm driving with the windows down because I'm like, I want to get that smell away from me. And it, you know, was in this area. So if I drive with the windows down, the smell will get out faster.
True.
So absolutely that didn't happen. So now it smelled horrible. And then, you know, Jeremy and my dad are like, well, what did you drive through? And I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. But there was a splatter all over the front of the car. And I guess in the tires or whatever. So they're like, well, you obviously drove through something. And I'm like, do you remember the last puddle you drove through?
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
point.
So I was like, I have no idea. I have no clue what happened there. I said, I think someone just got me. They just threw a bucket when I wasn't looking or
Prank
something.
wars.
Yeah. I got prank worsed. Anyways, so now we've washed the tump in the front twice. But I think I really have to go get the undercarriage done because it's become a problem.
Indeed.
Stinky.
All right, everybody. Our 4 whole human beings listening to the pod. We are transitioning to move into our questions of... Wait, did we finish talking about you and then me? We on a late funeral. Do you want to have any questions about the funeral? Do you actually want to care about me and about my life? Or
I asked
or will I
you.
just care about you and your truck?
I asked you how you were doing today.
Spectacular.
Really?
What? You don't notice it in my man? I have so much energy, and I am...
Was it like a celebration funeral or was it like a we're all sad funeral?
Definitely sad, and it was actually both. So the prayer service was last night. The burial and the little chapel service was today. But you and I talked about this maybe on the last part, or maybe the prior one. But ultimately, we had this discussion about like maybe an achievement you're proud of, and this idea. We got a bot. That's how we know we're climbing up in the world. We got a bot in the chats. Cheap viewers on gz138bisa.site. Don't trust that.
Don't go to that website.
That's on what platform is that? Twitch. Okay.
We're on Twitch?
Yeah, we're on Twitch. You want to watch our stream on Twitch?
I didn't know we were on Twitch. I don't think I have a Twitch.
So, where were we?
The funeral.
Oh, just being asked to preside over that. That's one. I've spoken at 2 funerals as kind of like a guest speaker, guest prayer person. And this one was the first one I was like, presiding over, like officiating. Which is, she's sitting against the podcast studio. We need to have some kind of penalty for this. Like
for my yawn.
Like, all right, ping pong ball. All right, hold, you can't move.
But yeah.
So you were like something that would snap you out of the yawn, that would move you emotionally. Ooh, maybe like a water gun. Ooh, but this is a studio. Okay, but yeah. So ultimately, a funeral setting where the family is grieving and mourning the death of my friend's brother, who's 51 years old. Relatively, again, like you're talking about, like if an average person living to 75 or 80, then you're talking like about 25, 30 years, dying younger than average or than he would have. So it's crazy to think about. I think when I first was asked to officiate at a wedding, it was like, what? Like, you want me to do something like that? And then like, I was like, oh, funerals, like probably even more sensitive.
Yeah.
Like if the number of human beings I'd want to speak at my wedding is whatever, 5 people or 10 people, whatever it is, the number of people at funeral, in some ways, not the open part where you open mic, but like the main person is kind of like, I don't know, 3. It's a smaller number, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just try to express my gratitude for them for trusting me in a fragile, delicate moment like that. And it definitely it's kind of like a God moment of saying, hey, son, like, I've given you this gift to communicate and to use your words to comfort and build people up. And this family trusts you to be able to do that in the most high stake situation.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Right? Isn't that one of those weird? What do you say? I'm glad you were able. I'm glad somebody trusted you in that situation.
I'm
Congratulations.
glad you were a comfort.
There we go. But why are you making a face?
Because I'm like, really, that doesn't feel right either. But you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's hopefully it's God comforting them through the words.
Yeah.
But it's also like at a funeral. When's the last time you've been to a funeral?
3 years? 4?
There's something about it that does kind of reset you. Like, you don't know how many conversations you're going to have with anybody, right? So it's like, ooh, how many episodes do we get to do before one of us is gone? And then we're going to look back and they're going to cry.
Hopefully, plenty.
But it just makes me want to appreciate life, little things. So
Yeah.
There's a scripture that talks about like the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning.
Yeah.
And I get that when you go, it makes you think about life and what matters and what doesn't, and how we make small things matter and we make big things, we put those to the side.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're able to have these conversations as we think about our kids and maybe what questions our kids are going to ask. So overall, very, very beautiful time. I'm glad to be here. Softball game tonight, and we have a meeting with a potential doula as well in between.
Ooh.
Did you have one of those?
I wanted to, but I just decided.
Did you know they're free? They give them away.
Yeah, but I was gonna find a doula in the last month, and then I went to the doctor, and remember, Kalel came early. So it was like I was gonna sit down and have meetings to do
if
that.
If the doula was there, would I have been out? Plot twist.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe we don't even have a kid.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah. All of a bunch of stuff. So I did tell Jeremy this time, I said, I'm going to get my pictures taken like this month or next month because I don't want to wait till later. And especially now, like with the first pregnancy, I really didn't start showing till I was like 7 months. You know, like really, my belly was super tiny. But now my belly's a lot bigger than it was before.
I've heard that you get bigger on the second one.
Yeah. So
you found that to be true so far?
Yeah. Like, so I'm like a little more than 5 months pregnant now. So, and I feel like my belly's a little bit bigger.
So you're going to get maternity pictures?
Yeah.
Did you do them the first time?
On the day that I was going to go, I had to have Kalel.
Oh my gosh. So you didn't do them?
No. So sad.
Okay, here's the question. We did maternity pictures, and we have 102 pics. 38 of them are black and white. So I feel like the black and white, I could just take they're just renditions of the colors. So I'm like, anybody could do that like in 5 seconds on a smartphone, on an iPhone. Now, meaning 102 minus 38, I suppose we get somewhere 64 photos. The question is, have you heard of the website Shoot? Website where you pay pretty much for only the photos you get. So if you only like one, you only pay for one, and that's the photo you got. Or if you want 10, of course, like, you know, emotionally. For me, I want all of them, all 64. I think Angelita's a little bit more practical and pragmatic. It's like going like, how many times are we going to look at these?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, but it's the only time you got pro pics before we were we had the kid, and then the kid is looking back on pics, only has 10 as opposed to 64. Anyway, what's your advice?
I do think it's about picking like exactly which ones you want to keep. Just because, like, I've seen like a picture of, I think Diamond got pictures for like the girls. And I feel like I've seen those pictures so many times. Like I know exactly like what they look like in their pictures. And I feel like if they would have had a bunch of those, because who do I, you know who has a bunch of pictures? I can't think. I think Genevieve and Anthony take a lot of pictures. So like they have a lot of pictures, and I can't like pinpoint and think about like one picture. I think I've seen like, I think about the pictures I've seen of Jeremy like on their walls, and like I think about his school pictures. So it's like pictures they didn't even like really get taken. So I feel like if you have a lot, sometimes you don't notice them all, but if you have like a little bit, then that's all you think about too. I think it's about finding that like in between, you know? And also maybe not too many from like one time.
You're supposed to just take my side. What are you doing? So I guess my counter argument would be you could display a few of them.
Yeah.
But have all of them.
Yeah.
But you're saying,
I think, yeah, like having like how grandma has a bunch of books with them. I think, yeah, definitely keep as many in the books as you want. But like for display, like for everybody to look at, yeah, like I think less is more.
Fair. Okay. The question we were going to start with today was actually the last question we were discussing in. I feel like the last two pods we actually were in some really deep waters. The Spirit of God was hovering over and doing some marvelous things, especially in your hearts. What? You don't think so?
My brain is not braining, Derek. I have no idea what we talked about.
Like, I don't remember the 2 podcasts ago, but my brain does this thing where it makes a note, and it's like a warm, fuzzy note. I was like, oh, like where we were at the end of that podcast was so like cool. And then it did the same thing on the last one. Of course, the last one I had to run out because I had a meeting. We actually have a meeting today as well. I have to run out of here at sometime. I know we have a meeting at 4:30, so probably 4.
Yeah.
So we got 53 minutes.
Yes.
Anyway, the last time you and I were discussing the idea of not deserving things. Because I think I was saying something to the effect of, for the people who don't actually understand how evil they are, do they just not
suffer?
View the goodness as good, or the basics as good, because like they're not comparing it. It's the contrast is not next to each other. Because I was talking about when I understand how much wrong I've done, and I look at any even average good thing or really good thing in my life, then it's like, man, like it's, look at these great things in my life, even the really basic good things in my life compared to all of this evil. So in other words, the blessings I get, when I keep the wrong that I've done in view, then it reminds me of how lucky, blessed I am to have these things.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to a point you were saying, yeah, and I feel like you had a softening moment where it was like, yeah, I look at all this, and you said something to the effect of, I really don't deserve all of this. Especially, you had said, not only do people know about what you've done wrong, but people were there and saw it, or were with you, or it was against them.
Yeah,
right?
like the people that are currently in my life that I'm grateful for were there. Yeah.
Yeah.
In my life, being hurt by me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. Like there was like, we were both in this moment of like realizing the wrong we've done, seeing the good, and that special like gratitude for, I know you were talking about my marriage is in a place that it's in, and you were like grateful for that. Yeah,
but I really think Things are looking up, Giselle.
I know this quote probably some way, somehow. Giselle.
Open season.
Open season. Okay, I'm lost. Help me out.
Open season?
Is this a show?
It's a movie about a bear.
Have I seen it?
It's a cartoon. Maybe not.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's funny.
Got it. All right, so it was a reference I wouldn't have known, but thanks for trying. Okay.
Jeremy says it all the time. But yeah. Marriage is going good still. So that's great.
Do you feel pressure for it to be going good? Like if it was going really bad, how honest would you be? Or would you just avoid the topic?
Yeah, probably just avoid it. I'll just be like...
If I said, how's marriage, Aimee? So let's say it's going as worse as it possibly
No,
goes.
I think I've even there has been times where you've asked me and we've been on the pod and me trying not to lie. I'll be like, well, there's bad weather in marriage too.
Yeah.
There's a weathering what is it weathering the storm or whatever.
It's not as sunny as it could be. Which I was reading again about. Okay, so you're familiar with ego? Yes.
Yeah. Like in a person, not like a person named Ego.
Yeah, like Eggo waffle. Okay. But like when at least when we were being taught it in school, it's the id, ego, super ego, right?
Mm-hmm.
Id meaning your basic impulses of like what you desire, what you want, or these ways that it drives you. The super ego being like the social expectations or whatever, what people expect of you externally. Then your ego is like the reality of wrestling with your impulses versus what people expect of you. So you're kind of in this spot. So I kind of use the example of like walking to the gym with a Big Mac. It's like, hold on, like your basic impulses, I want good, tasty, delicious food. But the super ego is like, oh no, the people in the gym are going to judge me. So it's like, so then your ego is wrestling through these two things that are in contrast. So on the pod, naturally there's things on the pod and in front of your brother, the super ego, like if you think about in a weird way, my super ego of like, oh no, my brother is going to listen to whatever I said and he might not let me get away with saying something, whatever.
Yeah.
He might make fun of me or he might, whatever.
Want to pinpoint and zoom in on the topic. Yeah.
He might judge or maybe he might not understand. And then you have an audience of, again, not whatever, 3 people and then whoever else listens to the replay. All of that to say it's an interesting way when I catch myself, oh snap, I'm doing this because of the super ego, what I think they want to hear or you want to hear versus what actually just is in that reality.
Yep.
Okay. The question we're on that we revisited that we maybe didn't finish, which is why I kept it on the list. And which is question number 8. Can you share a lesson you learned from a mistake you made? You want me to go first or you go first?
You go first.
All right. I think I started saying this. Ultimately, last 21 years, I've gotten 0 traffic tickets. Yay, pat me on the back. I'm such a great driver. And I hit 1 pedestrian. And whatever kind of like achievement I think I might have got for 21 years of no ticket, it's pretty much a 0. I'm behind the person who probably has 55 traffic tickets for speeding and changing lanes, not using the blinker, whatever it is. So now once you've hit a pedestrian, you're pretty much a 0. So the lesson, if we're talking to my son, and you're listening to this pod and you're going, okay, what's the lesson? The mistake is, one, the way I hit the person, one, I was sleepy. So be mindful when you're sleepy and you drive. I just woke up from a nap. 2, in taking a right turn, I try to tell myself on an ongoing basis of how do you make a right turn at a red light. It seems simple. Red light, stop. You look to your left, that's where the traffic's coming immediately for us in the U.S. who drive on the right side of the road. But you could totally take your eyes off of any potential pedestrian coming from the right. Mm-hmm. So you're looking there. So, okay, you scoot up, and that's where I hit the pedestrian. So I think the lesson is like to be looking and be mindful, looking both ways for the potential pedestrian, and don't move forward while you're looking the wrong way or you're not looking both ways.
Yeah.
That'll be a really fundamental lesson from that driving experience. And by the way, the 21 years of no tickets doesn't mean I've driven legally. It just means I didn't get caught. Like,
Yeah.
like think about the number of times I speeded in the last 21 years. I don't know, 50,000 like times. I don't know, like just the sheer number of times I went over the speed limit. But if you just drive over the speed limit with the whatever the flow of traffic, then a lot of times it's not a problem.
But it's still legal.
Still illegal. So I'm no better. In fact, I hit a pedestrian, so I'm the worst. So sorry that you're a better driver than me. But I'm a better knife user in the kitchen than you are.
I'll take that. It is funny. It's funny because actually recently, so I guess thinking about it, we have the restaurant, right, in Cuero.
Mm-hmm.
So I have now been going over there and I am helping to manage. And obviously problems you run into, mistake we made, right? So
We are you.
I guess me too. I guess me.
We, you are they.
No, like me. Like, so obviously if you have something and you care about it, you don't put it into other people's hands and let them like run it wild or, take it over or, fund it, So it's like making the decision to not be constantly checking in at the restaurant and not making sure, cross-checking our books and cross-checking our inventory and cross-checking the managers. We had run into some problems with, numbers being off and people not showing up and stuff like that. So, mistake, obviously. So, recently, I was over there, right? And people came in for the people who were no longer working there came in for their checks. And they're kind of like angry with me because they think, they want more money and like they want their checks to have more money on them. And they're telling me, I'm going to sue you for whatever. And
Okay, I'll be them and then you be you. Show me the faces you made and and you can also reveal your thoughts. Okay, I walk in.
Hi, hello, welcome.
Aimee, I received a check and it should have been $150, but it was only $100, and I want to know where that difference is.
That's what you worked for. And that's all you're owed from our company.
Wait, so you're not going to make this right?
I am not. That's all you're getting from me.
And you don't mind if I go online and tell the truth about how y'all shortchanged me $50 of my money?
I think that you do whatever you need to do, but I don't have any proof to what you're telling me.
So if I provided the proof, then would I get the money?
If you showed me?
What would be proof that would actually help to show you that it's valid?
I think proof would be if you have all your clock in and clock out slips that you had, and those hours didn't match up to the hours that are on your check.
But the prior manager before didn't ask me to show them that and they just credited my paycheck.
That's because we had slacking management, and that's why that manager is no longer here.
But
unfortunately.
So who's the boss now?
Me.
Okay. So and who's your manager?
The owner.
And what do I have to do to talk to her?
You can give her a phone call. But she's going to tell you the same thing.
Okay. How do you know she's going to tell me the same thing?
Because we have plenty of video evidence and plenty of crossed evidence proving that, one, you got an advance on your check. You got an advance prior to getting your check, so that was taken off of your check. You were clocked in and you were not here. And that you were actively consuming our alcoholic beverages on the clock.
You roasted her. Dang. She's just breaking all these laws over here.
Anyways, it was pretty bad, right? So what's it called? The people that are coming in and they're like, so there's a guy. So it's a big guy coming and he's yelling at me, getting in my face, and Jeremy.
Oh, snap.
Jeremy was there too. So once he starts getting like, and just so happened that day, my dad also happened to be there. So my dad's there, Jeremy's there. The cook is a male and he's already upset about the people who are no longer working there because he had been working there and then he left and then he came back after they did whatever. So this guy's like getting in my face. So then Jeremy gets up. My dad gets there and he's like, "Hey, get away from her." Da da da. So then I told
Is he packing?
no, and then he tells us,
Wait, who? Wait, who's? Do you know what I'm talking
"Oh,
about?
my dad. Yeah,
He's packing.
yeah, probably." Anyway, so I'm there, and then
That means was he carrying a gun?
yeah. So then, but then I told Jeremy was like, "Well, I didn't know what you wanted me to do," and I said, "Well, I'll always stab him if it comes down to it." So definitely, I tried really hard to de-escalate the situation as many times as I could. Before I mentioned any of the, I have you on video doing all these things, I tried to just be like, do what you got to do. Do what you need to do. It's all right. I'm sorry that we're in this position, but they keep pushing my buttons. And I'm pregnant. So I'm pregnant, and then I'm there, and then he's all up in my face, and I'm like this. I'll call the cops right now, and I will send over the video evidence.
Preach. No,
I
think that's powerful. And here's what I want to say about that. Because for whatever reason, every now and then, different arguments pop into my brain. One such argument was this individual. For whatever reason, I guess sometimes people make arguments against my Christian faith. Sometimes I take the argument, I just let it sit for a few days, weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. And I was like, oh, what would be the best comeback to that one? Right. Right. So one of them was, oh, you're a Christian. Oh, you can't be good on your own. You need the Bible to tell you what to be good. You couldn't be good on your own. Like that kind of criticism. And I was like, well, hey, what do I think about that? And I was like, okay, so I guess my rebuttal to that person who didn't tell me, it was like online or something that I ended up seeing. I think the rebuttal is something to the effect of, so then you don't believe in having managers or supervisors like anywhere? Like McDonald's, restaurant, call center, any company? You don't believe? So then you're saying we don't need to be told what to do. We don't need external accountability, external influence, because what I know, I behave better when people are around me. I behaved better when my supervisor was there. And that's, should I have? No. The noble thing to do is to be just as good and great and honest and hardworking when my boss is watching me directly than when she's not watching me directly. So they actually both should be hardworking, full of integrity, honest people. But the reality is most people, when they think they're not being watched or supervised or managed, act a fool. And you just illustrated one of the things. So this idea of this criticism of, oh, you need the Bible. Most people need external supervision, management, guidance, perspective, direction to be able to be their best. Most people aren't their best when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Or when they think no one's looking, like to the point about the camera.
Yeah, unfortunately.
People can be disappointing in that way.
Yep.
But again, I'll be the first one to say the idea that, let's say I watch a rated R movie or rated R or whatever show on Netflix, and like the dissonance I would have with watching that show if a couple from church was there too. Would I watch it? I was like, I'd probably have a little bit of pause or hesitation. Maybe not watch it at all. Maybe watch a PG-13. Maybe watch a PG. And what is that? And that's an element of hypocrisy, but it's not, because I'm talking about it and I'm talking about the reality of it. But the idea is we tend to behave better when we have people that are made of sterner stuff or a strong moral character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. But yes.
All right. Number 9?
Yeah.
What does family mean to you, and how should I prioritize it in my life? Your child asks you.
You want me to answer?
You want to go first? Excuse me, or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. To me, family, at least, the people in your life that you decide to prioritize as your family, because obviously once you get married, that's your family, and your family can change at any point in time. But the people in your life who are your family, I think to me, it means people who are always there for you, especially like in a time of need. So, like, if you're going to call somebody to help you move, you call your family. Or if you're going to call somebody to come to your child's birthday, you want your family there. Or to meet your new child, you want your family there. I think your family is the people you want a part of your big moments in life. And prioritizing them, I think it's, the same thing. For me personally, I like to do things for my family. Some people might say, and I think it's because of my love language for that being specifically like having, people need favors from me. So like having to do things for people, that's something that I feel like is a priority for me because I love my family and I want them to know that I love them and that knowing that they ask me these things makes me feel like they love me too.
Do you think... So clearly, I think you shine in acts of service, rides for the family, especially. That's a huge one. The transportation, getting from place to place, especially when the family can be split or there's multiple kids, like Diamond has multiple kids and things of that nature. Do you think other acts of service registered for you in the same way? Like, totally joking, doesn't matter to me whatsoever. I'm not even thinking about it. But like the wood board I asked you to fix.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
But I would almost think it's a lesser ranked favor because it's not like one. I'm not even using the other one that I do have. I have this. It's for anybody who's wondering. So I have this wood
charcuterie board,
serving plate, charcuterie board thing. I had two of them. They're kind of like pizza serving. They're like pizza serving wood boards, and I asked Aimee to fix one of them. I don't really care about the favor, but I was just curious for your perspective on how. So I guess what I was almost asking, because you and I discussed this topic before, like, what is there any favor I could ask of you that would register at that same level, or because a human seems to not be involved at this point, would it just not be?
Well, it's like for your baby shower, when I made the leaves.
See?
I liked doing that.
So you felt closer because you did the leaves?
Yeah. Yep. And then my toes are still a little green, my toenails, and I've been trying to scrub it off. I figured I'll just get them painted. But yeah, every time I see them, I'm like, pat myself on the back a little.
Nice. Nice. But the issue with that is it's such a once. I suppose it could be any party.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so tough for my. Is it my ego? Is it id? My id?
I think it's super ego.
Super ego is your expectation of me. Me, it's reconciling what the expectations are. Yeah, I think maybe it is not of yours, but of what
Other people
have socialized me to not be dependent on anybody. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think especially if you want to prioritize your family, it's just about showing up. I think showing up is half the battle. When something happens, you don't have to say the right thing. You don't have to do the right thing, but constantly being there, that I think that's what makes your family.
Yeah.
You don't always say the perfect thing at the right time. And that, you don't always make everybody the most comfortable.
Yeah, right.
Or happy with, whatever your words are. Or even sometimes you can get upset with your family members. But always being there, I think, is...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll hit this answer. So if the basic answer of what does family mean to me is it's my blood family, right? It's my mom, my brothers, my sisters, my brothers and sisters who came from my mom or from my dad. Right? That's family. My grandparents, my uncles, aunts. Again,
cousin.
I'm saying basic family roles.
Yeah.
Now, if we're saying if there's no way. Like, I mean, whatever. My 12-year-old kid doesn't know what that is. Like, well, yeah, dad. Like, So what? If the question really is, who else is added to family, it would be those people. So, for example, I was hesitant on like how to do the whole baby shower. Do I invite the guys? Do I not? Like, it adds more head count for the food, but then it's like it's not really a guy's thing. It's specifically a women thing. But Angelita wanted me to go. I kind of was thinking about doing this other kind of version of like a guy's time. Regardless, I think I wrestled with it, but ultimately I invited a few people to come because I considered them like family. But if you categorize like who they were and how they become family, so part of it is people who've been roommates of mine. And so you've shared a significant portion of life, and you've mourned losses, you've celebrated victories, you've walked together for a significant portion of time. So if my son was asking, like, how do people become family, or how did these uncles that I see around me that are clearly not blood related become like family? It's just a significant portion of time. One of my friends, Luke Tolliver, says this phrase. He said, how do you spell love? He says, Time, which love is spelled with time. And that's where you build like special connections. I think that's valid. So I think about people who've been there with me when we got notices about friends dying, or a friend hurting, or a family member passing away, or a dad reappearing in the picture, or these situations. There's so much depth to those friendship, man. It's really, really special. And if you can add on to your biological family, which I would call your soul family or your spirit family, which is what I have in a number of friends, especially friends that I've been roommates with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, and it says, what does it say? How should I prioritize it in my life? I think I would assess how my son navigates rhythm. Like I could do decent with rhythm. Like, okay, Sundays I go to church, so then there's a family that I meet there. A number of my friends don't go to church with me anymore, so it's like I'm not really going to see them. I'll see other, more distant friends. But again, some really solid friends that I do go to church with as well. So anyway, all that to say is you could do more rhythm stuff, or you could do more sporadic stuff. But either way, one of those two, I think, can be ways you can build family-like relationships with people who aren't on that biological blood level.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's the same thing. Like, I think about my family, and I think about like the fact that I'm not going anywhere. Like I think about Christiana, Shanice, and like, we grew up together, and we're, aunt and niece relationships, but us growing up together the way that we have, we've gone through phases where we've fought or we've disagreed on things, and we've done, we've gone out together, we've had partied together, we've laughed together, we've cried together, we've done all these things. But I just feel like it didn't click in my mind for so long that no matter what happens in my life, no matter what the situation, they're always going to be there for Thanksgiving and Christmas, So it's like, and, they could decide not to be coming, or I could decide to stop going. But it's like, it's people who you are always going to keep in your life, people who you're not going to. So I also have, I have friends. So I have like one friend, but like I think about her, and I think about and even just, Christiana or Shanice, they could make a decision, and they could be going down the wrong path. They could be doing the wrong thing. They could be dating the wrong guy and doing all the bad things. Am I going to say, no, you can't come to Christmas? No. Am I going to say, no, you can't come to Thanksgiving? No. Am I going to say, I might say, I don't want you in my house around my kids, but, am I going to meet them for lunch and take them out to lunch? I'm always going to do those things. I'm always going to try because they're my family. And I think about the same thing that I do with like my one friend, I'm always going to try to find a place for her in my life. You know what I mean? Like I'm always going to, no matter what decision she's making, no matter whether I support her, I don't support her, or I, disagree with anything that she's doing, or I 100% support what she's doing. Like, I'm always going to want to touch base with her and have a place for her in my life.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, and it's a relevant question in the realm of one topic that's come up among friends and I is a purposeful absence of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a church context that it becomes interesting, but I'm curious. You've had again a journey. You've talked about whatever, whatever, crashing cars or drinking or again the Mary J usage. Would you think you would have found any net benefit to a warning from a family member and a distance in that, or maybe not a family or even a friend? Like, would there be any? Maybe I want to explain a little bit more, and you could ask questions if you have questions about what I'm trying to get to. But so the example that I've heard somebody else use, more so in the church context, but church still friends. So let's say I know husband and wife, husband cheats on wife, they get a divorce. Clearly, this is something that I don't admire as far as the infidelity, as far as the divorce, what they put their spouse through, what they could have put a kid through, all of that. In my mind, that might be a situation where it's going, let me purposefully provide distance between me and them, whether it's 6 months or 9 months, to go like what you did. So like the vow between to break the vow between husband and wife, it's so severe that if you can't keep the vow to the person you made a vow to in front of witnesses, and before God, then like you need to go through a period of distance from me and even some of people you're close to feel the severity of what you've done. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm curious of your thoughts on that, and if you thought something like that would have been any net value, because you say what you had just described made me think about how I'm open to the idea of providing that distance for whatever, a 6 month period of time to let somebody know the severity of what they've done. And I could see how that could sound harsh to some people, but I haven't fully landed on the idea. So any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's funny because I think Jeremy has the same kind of like perspective, because I've had family members who have gone through infidelity and gotten the divorce and did that kind of stuff. So it's like Jeremy will be like, well, if they did that, why do you even talk to that person anymore? And it's like, okay, it's hard because you don't want to like run away, especially like if you're all that your family member has. Like it's hard. But, and you don't want to condone that kind of behavior, obviously. But sometimes I think especially like if you think that it's necessary for you to put space in between like you and someone else, then by all means, do what you got to do. Because I think it's...
But for them, but I guess what I'm saying is not for me. I'm saying it doesn't affect me. Like I'm the same person. I'm doing this to help you, to understand how horrible this is for you, not from me. Oh, because you're gonna be a bad influence on me. No, you ain't changing me.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think. Do I think it would have made a difference? I feel like even in my friendships, and even with my family members, I myself will take time away to be on my own and to not talk to anybody, because I feel like I need a minute to get my thoughts back together, get myself back together, even like after Jeremy and I first got married, like I was still kind of in a rough place
Yeah.
where I moved to Austin with Jeremy and I stayed over there because I was just not like I didn't want to be. I wasn't ready to like move into the next stage of like healing or doing better and stuff like that. So it was like I had to go through that whole like phase also. So I think if somebody else would have been like, I just don't want to hang out with you. And I did have a lot of friends who were like, I don't want to be your friend anymore because of the way that you're acting.
They said it explicitly.
Yeah, like I'm like just leave me alone because you're acting out of line. So it's like I
related to the behavior, but it's substance abuse.
Yeah. So like I remember like I had a friend who she used to do like eyelashes, and one time like I went over there and I was like I took somebody else to get their eyelashes done, and the whole time like I was like being annoying or I was like being like obnoxious or something like that, and then like I paid a deposit for something to get something done and then I canceled. So then she was like, you're not showing up for your appointments. Like you showed up and then you were being kind of like loud, I don't know what she was like, I don't know what you're going through, but really like, I think you need to spend some time on your own, So it's like, I remember going through that period like with my friends, and I had like a couple of friends who were kind of like, you're overdoing it, like you need to take some time by yourself. So it was like, okay, like it distanced them from me, and like really, really, if anything, like those were my good friends.
Yeah.
And it was like I then now only had my bad friends to hang out with. So then it was like I was still being bad. And it took all the way, it took a long time for me to get to, especially where I am now, but where I was by the time Jeremy and I got married. Jeremy had to deal with a lot because of just, the decisions that I made.
Yeah.
So it's like, did it make a difference, like them not wanting to be around me anymore? Like, I completely understand, especially now. Like, I completely understand, like, not wanting to be around somebody who's doing all those kinds of things because it's like, especially if you're not that kind of person. But, do I feel like glad that I wasn't, like, burdening their lives anymore.
Right.
But did it make, like, a big difference? Well, I don't know.
I think this got thicker.
Yeah.
One, I'm not trying to call anybody out by name, but in the family of the Jehovah's Witnesses, the practice of disfellowshipping is actually specifically what I had in mind. I totally forget that you have references to them, and you have a framework. Not saying it's whatever. It's the standard one that every kingdom hall in the world uses, but that's kind of the context of what I was referring to in a casual way, in a less structured way, would be like what I've communicated to other people is there are certain groups that have really clear disfellowship processes, and to me, some of the clarity is actually really helpful. Like, okay, anybody who wants to know could know what you all think about the process of distancing yourself and associating yourself. So it's like, what the rules are.
Yeah.
If you break the rules, the consequences of the rules.
Yeah.
Other groups that are, maybe we'll call them more organic and less structured, maybe I'll even call me, and especially if I'm talking to friends who share the same faith, but we don't have the same church, so it's not like anybody could even impose that on somebody if these people don't go to the church anymore. So it's not like they could go, hey,
they're shunned.
Yeah, they can't get shunned if they're not even part of this group anymore, So, again, I'm not saying for you to mention anybody by name for sure, but what I'm saying is
exactly
your perspective, any perspective on that to add to the mix. Because, so I guess what I'll say is this. In disfellowship, right or wrong, or somewhere in the middle, the idea is you've done something that's broken
the code,
covenant, broken the code, broken the rule. And so we care about you so much, is this idea. And we care about you being restored and to come back to your senses, because we want you to be saved ultimately. we are going to shun you and put you out, and people are not going to associate with you who are in our group. But the goal is to bring you back in.
Mm-hmm.
But there is
steps you gotta
there is
take.
absolutely a collective. I mean, again, from my understanding of the witnesses, it's like it's even announced. Like it's announced who is this fellowship. They have to come to the service after it started. They have to leave before it ends to make sure they don't have an accidental social interaction. So the social interaction with the community is purposefully, deliberately, and publicly clear on what you and even which people are actually able to talk to them. Which again, I understand outside world, this seems like a weird cult situation. And I think that's one of the practices that I could understand the debate on. That seems cult-like. Anyway, let me stop talking and let you chime in.
Yeah. It's crazy to me, like, even to think, and I've discussed this before, like, I'm a runner, right? So, like, I run away from things, like, as soon as problems have. That's the whole reason that I don't have any of those friends that that had that problem with me, is because even after I started doing better, I didn't go back and, like, apologize, or I haven't, like, tried to make up for my behavior. Like, I just completely stopped talking to them and said, okay, you know what? That friendship's gone forever, and that's the price I had to pay. And that's it. So it's like, thinking about it, like, if I got shunned from something, I would just be like, it's over for me. I'm never going back. That's it. I'll find another religion, or I'll find another church, and I'll just run over there, and I won't tell anybody about anything that's happened before. That's just, how I think my mentality automatically goes to just run away and don't tell anybody anything.
And to be fair, I think that's a common. It's not like out of this world. There's a number of people who feel exactly that way. Yeah.
So to think about it, and like, especially like having family members in the church, and having like, especially if you've been in the church for 20 something years, 20, 30 years, however long you've been in the church, a lot of your family, a lot of your friends are all associated with it. And then for you to have decided, because it was a decision, what the decisions that you made to end up getting shunned, you made that decision, you made the sacrifice to give up all of that. And it's like, if you want to get back to that, you have to genuinely go through like that process. I think it's the same thing as like kind of like, with Jeremy and myself too. Like, I feel like I've made a lot of sacrifices. I've made a lot of changes to myself, to my life, because I didn't want to lose Jeremy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think about it the same way. Like, if I had to jump through so many hoops, and I had to, pack up my stuff, I had to stop talking to everybody, I had to do all these things so that I could have, my husband, I was going to do it, So after having made the decision to make mistakes, so it's like, like, the thought of like being kicked out of something, or being shunned from something, or even, the thought of Jeremy leaving and not being with me, I think those things can be a motivation if you're the person who's like invested in those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't, especially because of how much, I love Jeremy, and I feel like there's nobody else made for me,
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't ever feel like I could replace him. I don't feel like I could find someone else, or date someone else, or ever be with anybody else that's better. So
yeah,
I was willing to make any sacrifices I had to make.
Powerful.
But yeah, so I think it's the same thing. I think if you love your church the same way, then you will do whatever it takes. So maybe shun away.
I've seen people recover in like. So you know me that I'm. Whenever I hear the word "because," I'm triggered, because and you didn't say it, but because the concept is it could be overly reductive without a little bit more conversation. So let's say somebody got disfellowshipped, and then they were shunned or whatever, or for a period of time, and then they were brought back. I've seen that happen. They've come back, but did they come back and change their life because of that, or because of other things? And they happen to also go through this fellowship process. So one, you and I talked about AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, or even Cocaine Anonymous in the past. Not cocaine related to you, but because one of my friends was leading the group, and I went to one of the meetings to see, to support him and be there for him. And have you and I discussed the 12 steps? Have we at least gone over them?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. For whatever reason is on my mind to go over them, and we probably have less than 10 minutes on the pod anyway. But I'm gonna put AA 12 steps.
Yep. If any of y'all are addicts out there, the 3 of y'all watching, you might want to get out a pen and a paper.
Well, the information age means that anybody could Google this stuff. So here they are. Number 1, we admitted that we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Number 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Number 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will and for us and the power to carry it out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
You know what I wonder?
What?
Like, what is the average age of the person in AA? And, like, one day, like, when I'm in my 30s or I'm in, like, my late 20s or maybe in my 40s, am I going to all of a sudden, like, be getting messages of people like, sorry I hurt you? Because I don't know, like, I don't know anybody who's done AA now, but I'm sure it gets more likely the older people get. Or maybe I'm going to be 50, Maybe I'll be in my 50s and I'm going to be getting messages like,
yeah,
sorry I hurt you that one time.
Well,
it's heavy on my heart.
Well, one, these steps, it's been written about in sitcoms and situations, like the one on, I'll probably make amends. Like there's a whole Seinfeld episode where one of the main character core, their friend is going through AA, so he's apologizing to each one of them for what they did. And one thing that George was ready for the apology was that they were at a party together and George asked for a sweater, but then the guy who's, again, AA years later told him, I'm not going to let you wear a sweater because your head's so big, it's going to stretch out the neck. And so George was embarrassed the whole party. And then so when George found out this guy was going through the steps, years later, he's like, yes, he's finally going to apologize for making fun of my big head. And then so the dude comes to make amends and apologize, but he doesn't apologize for that. And then George says, hold on, wait. Like, what step are you on? He's like, I'm step 10. Now, step 9 was the one where you make amends. So then he goes, hold on, you never apologized for that. And he goes, there's nothing to apologize for because your head was too big and it would have ruined my shirt. So anyway, like they have like whole like comedies written about even people going through the steps, and that guy ends up relapsing and starts all over because he's so mad or whatever. Like, anyway, but when you were saying that there's people that you never went back to, it just reminded me, it reminded me of the steps.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of how cathartic those conversations could be, even if no friendship comes out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've thought about that before too.
So what's the percentage do you think?
Maybe when I'm 50. Maybe when I'm 50, y'all will be getting a bunch of letters in the mail or something. All the people that I've stabbed in the back. No, just kidding. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
So 50. All right. So we're still potted in 50. We're like, all right, 49. We're doing a countdown.
Coming up
We're doing
on
a
the countdown for the letters. I bet you there's going to be people like, oh, am I going to get my letter?
Because I don't believe in persuasion, I don't believe there's anything I could say or do to persuade you in that direction. But do you think there's anything that anybody could do to persuade you in that direction?
I think if I met somebody, like if I ran into somebody that I have hurt at some point in time and they said, you know, it would really have made a difference if you would have at least like apologized. Then I would feel like.
So the next week, they're right here.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah.
No, but
yeah.
so you don't think there's anything that outside of that, outside of the random chance meeting,
Yeah.
you don't think there's anything that's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to make this a priority over the next, whatever, 3 months.
Yeah, no. I think, plus I think the person that matters the most to me, Jeremy, you know, he's the only person that I think I would really want to apologize to all the time, but I do that. I guess maybe I could apologize more. But, you know, when I think about it, maybe I'll go home today and apologize.
There's a way that you have an up-close benefit to it. So there's the selflessness of that other one, though, is like you're making their life a little bit lighter. Let's say they, like, in a perfect world, they're a Christian, they've already forgiven you.
Yeah.
Imperfect world, maybe they're not, and that's resentment.
Yeah.
And then it's like what I've described when I have resentment, whether it's to my wife or towards somebody, it's like a coldness is like over me, and then maybe she's loving toward me or kind to me or gentle or patient. It's like that ice kind of melts. So you could have the power of melting the ice that's been built around their hearts.
Yeah. But I don't want to not be forgiven, you know? Like, I don't want to, like, send it and then they're like, screw you. I don't ever want your stupid apology.
But then
I hope you rot in the ditch somewhere. You know, then it's like, I shouldn't even apologize to you. You're bitter.
But if the point was for you to own it, it wasn't. I think wouldn't it be conditional?
Yeah, I guess you're right. But that's what I'd say. You know, I guess that's why I will wait till I'm 50. 26 years.
Well, one thing, because again, I don't believe in persuasion, but I do believe that the Spirit of God moves powerfully, and maybe He'll bring it up again. Topic.
Maybe somebody will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I think you owe me an apology."
Yeah,
and then it'll spark it.
What if they're watching this pod and they've been watching and waiting, and they're saying, "Oh, wait, she's almost gonna get there," and then they say, "Oh, no, she's not."
Maybe it's one of the 4 people out there.
Yeah, y'all. If Aimee has done anything to wrong you or your family and has hurt your feelings and has disregarded you and not considered you, please let us know in the chat, and she will promptly make amends. Other than that, it's good to be back. Yeah. And we'll pick up. Dang, we only made it through like 2
things, right?
Number 9.
Well, if we didn't yap all the time.
Yapanessa. Okay. Any closing words of inspiration for the group?
My son's name is not Bruce Wayne.
But do you want to guess the name? You 4 people in the chat. Do you have your hands free? Are you not driving and you're able to type a name into the chat? And we'll tell you if it's in the right half of the alphabet. If the letter J is the 10th letter of the alphabet, J, K, L, M, that's all first half, and N and O and beyond are
How did you know
half.
J was 10th?
I think it's because one of Jetty's first jersey was the number 10, and it also happened to be the first letter of his name. What a weird association, huh?
Yeah, that is. Memory.
All right. Any guesses? No?
All right.
All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.